3, 2, 1, fire.
Hey, good morning. It's the Milkman, John Milky. Boy, how many decades have I been on radio playing music, venturing out every single day into conversations with you, because I think we are sorely lacking in conversations in our world these days. And so it's an opportunity for me to open up to you and say, hey, is there something on your mind, something you want to talk about? And I got a long list of stuff that is probably on a lot of people's minds right now that I will put out there as idea starters. But listen, here's an invitation for you, to chime in and you listen. It's your show. Maybe you've just launched a small business. You want to promote it. Do it. Maybe you got a charity event coming up this weekend. You want to promote it. Do it. Maybe you want to talk about, back to school. Do it. Mental health. Do it. We're going to have conversations as well today with Chris Fothergill-Brown. He is our resident food guy. He's got a great YouTube channel based mostly on the weirder side of foods. It's fantastic, called youtube.com/that'srank. Corleen, good morning to you. Corleen, she's you're someone who came to us through the Lowell Green Show. I hope I'm saying your name right. It's such a beautiful name, Coraline. I hope I'm saying Corleen right. That's so... It looks like a name you should see every day, but it's not. I love it. Anyway, please correct me if I'm saying your name wrong. I hate what we're friends now. I keep reading you on the Lowell Green Show, so I'd hate to have it wrong. So yeah, I mean, anything and everything. I really honestly believe I can hold a conversation with anyone about anything. Like last night I was kind of put on the spot, the Nick and Joe show. Joe is, of course, busy running for city council right now, so he's often pulled away from, doing, I'm saying it right. Yay, Coraline. Wonderful. It's such a beautiful name. It really is. Thanks for having BTR on today. Appreciate that a lot. So Joseph's not always, able to be on the show. And so Nick roped me into it last night and started, going down paths about, what to do about Mexican cartels and stuff. And I was quite pleased with myself because, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Mexican cartels and the consequences and how to deal with it. But I held my own in that conversation. So all this to say, I really believe I can have a conversation with you about anything and everything you want to talk about. What are your plans for the long weekend? What's exciting? What cool events are out there we should know about for the long weekend? Got some back to school tips. By the way, I ventured out into the world yesterday. I don't do that a lot. Not only did I venture out into the world, I went to a Walmart. I know. Look, Walmart has its place. I get it. Right? The fact they're as busy as they are is not an accident. I just don't do well in that kind of environment. I just don't. I didn't do well in Zellers. Target I did okay in. For some reason, just the layout and the pace of it was just better. But Walmart, and I'm not wrong, right? Like, depending on the Walmart, like the one at South Keys, that's right up there with everything you see on like peopleofwalmart.com. It's, it's a train wreck that you can't look away from. Anyway, I ended up down at Train Yards yesterday. Our niece is moving in with us this weekend, so we're just, finding a couple of things to finish. All I needed was a bloody mirror. So I did it. Anyway, yes, I ventured into Walmart yesterday. Can I also talk about, I noticed pedestrians look, I'm someone, as you know, who is quite overweight and quite concerned all of a sudden about, the physical condition I am in, and I recognize I need to start walking more. And I walk a little bit, certainly get the dog out for, a little walk around the block here and there, etc. I can do better, yes. But you know what I've never done? Gone for a walk in flip-flops. Like, I see people walking up and down Bank Street, going from like their residential neighborhood, walking along like, Bank and Hunt Club area, trucking along the sidewalk, going to the grocery store, off to the drugstore, then to Dollarama, grabbing themselves a little cup of Tim's, and then walking back up the highway home in flip-flops. I can't do it. I can't do it. Flip-flops are designed, are they not, for like a simple little thing to put on your feet when you're going, like to the pool, to the hot tub. That's it. Walking up and down Bank Street, doing your groceries. Yeah, Satan's Playmate says I won't wear flip-flops. I can't either. I don't find them very, very comfortable at all. Like the little thing between your toes, I can't do it. Can't do it. All right, so some of the stuff people are into already, they're commenting you can comment on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Chrissy's looking forward to the Labor Day Classic Monday, Argos and the Cats, Red Blacks and the Alouettes on Friday. That's tomorrow. CFL race heating up. Yes, the CFL heating up. Yay for the 2-7 team that still has a chance to be in the playoffs. Andrea in Winnipeg, I've been wondering about you because I started, I took a little step back and I've been, like sort of thinking, what the hell am I doing? Where am I going? Am I alienating great people who've been with us for a long time, like Andrea in Winnipeg? I'm so happy to see you. She says, good morning from Winnipeg. Well, just outside Winnipeg. I just finally had a notification you're back live. Wonderful to see you. Thank you. I'm thinking of maybe doing the Friday show like I used to do the Friday show. It's a time thing, right? It's a time thing right now. Long Point driver says she wears flip-flops around the house, but stepping on Lego is hell. Well, don't have Lego. You're welcome. I'm here for you. I got your back. Shawville Fair is this weekend. Kim Mitchell will be 10 minutes from my house. Kim Mitchell's in town? How did I miss that memo? Oh, God. I invite you to click the video link and appear on the stream with us. I don't know where this is going to go. Hi, it's my sister Linda.
How are you?
What did I do now? Do I owe you a birthday gift or something? What?
No, you should know when my birthday is.
I should, shouldn't I?
You should.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about real estate for a few minutes.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. We have been absolutely slammed the last 4 days with the amount of people that are looking for rental properties. So on our team, between the four of us, we have about 7 years worth of experience. So we usually carry anywhere from about 11 to 13 rentals, and we advertise them on Facebook Marketplace. The last week, we've been getting 80 to 85 inquiries a day for our rental properties.
80 to 85 a day, Linda?
I'm telling you, it is insane. I can hardly keep up. The amount of people that are looking for rental properties because the rental market has just exploded. And I don't get it because people have it in their head that they have no choice but to rent right now because they can't afford to buy, but they can.
So Tara's asking, are these students looking to rent?
Most of them, no. I would say it's about 60% families, maybe a couple dozen students, and a lot of families from Ukraine. We're really trying to get a lot of them in.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I've not heard that.
Yes,
wow.
A lot of them. The issue is that they don't have any credit. They don't have any job history. So we can get them into places. They just got to have a guarantor that's going to guarantee that that rent's going to be paid for a whole year. So we have put Ukrainian families into rental properties. It's just taking us a little bit longer to dot the I's, cross the T's, and make everything work.
So what is your ask here? Are you looking for more inventory? Are you...
No, okay. I don't need any more rental properties. I need an assistant is what I need. Yeah. In your spare time, do you want to help out? No, it's just people have this misinformation that, oh, the mortgage rates have gone up. I can't afford to buy anymore, but they can. Yes, the mortgage rates have gone up, but the 2.2 to the 2.8% mortgage rates, that wasn't going to last forever. That was it. Like, that was just, it was bound to
Well,
happen.
they said that to us year after year. I renewed my mortgage, I think, twice when the interest rates were below 3%, and they kept saying, "Yeah, I mean, as long as things are going the way they're going, I don't see a huge jump, but I mean, it could happen." And well, it did. I mean, you can't keep it that low for that long.
No, if you look back to 10 years ago, 4.2 to 4.7% was the norm. It just means that, 2 years ago, if you were thinking about buying something that was worth $600,000, now you're buying something worth $500,000. Your payments are going to be the same, just your interest rate's going to be a little higher.
Do you
But
find
it's doable. It's absolutely doable.
Do you find that, okay, so a potential home buyer goes to the bank or goes to, the lender. We won't say the bank.
Go to your bank, first of all.
Okay. But they get pre-approved for a mortgage for, let's say, $600,000,
Mhm.
just to use round figures. Are most people going out there and they're like, I have to find a house at the $600,000 mark? Like, are they going balls to the wall, or are they being small c conservative and looking at, let's say, like a $350,000, $400,000 home, if that even exists?
Yeah, they're being cautious. And if you're pre-approved up to 600,000, we'll set them up on a search. And we always say to them, just because you're approved for 600,000, we don't suggest that you buy something that high, because you need to have money in case you need a hot
Right.
water tank or a roof or this or that. So we set them up on a search, and typically we'll put their price point between, say, 450 to 530,000 to give them that cushion, to give them that wiggle room if they need it.
So, okay, so what you're saying then is, if you're someone who has sort of given up on the idea of owning a home because you're afraid of high interest rates, you've heard all of these rumors, and it's kind of gotten in your head, and you've resigned yourself to renting, you don't necessarily have to rent. Is there still a good inventory of homes for sale, Linda?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is, I would say the average week, there's probably, well, the month of August is always a bit of a gong show because people are on vacation,
Back to
people are
school
doing
and
stuff
stuff.
with their kids,
Yep.
especially the fact that they couldn't go anywhere with their kids for the last 2 years. So now that we're in September, I expect things to change. We haven't had many showings on our listings that we have for sale, but it's going to change. But I would say the average week, we're probably seeing about 1,200 new listings every week.
1,200 new listings every week. Okay, so take us back to, and you've been in this real estate game for a long, long time.
34 years, yeah.
Really, I didn't realize it was that. Well, I guess I did realize it was that long.
Yeah.
But take us back to like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you've seen 1,200 listings a week, or no?
A bit more, but around there. Like, that's the average
Okay.
for this time of year. Obviously, you see a lot more listings come on the market April and May, the true spring market. Most people have bought their house by now because they want to get their kids settled into school. They're not looking to buy something the week before school starts. But everybody that we've talked to in the last week and a half, they're like, well, we really can't afford to buy anymore. We're like, yeah, you can. You just have to, bring down your wish list a little bit smaller now.
Oh, but I don't want to, Linda. I want the big mansion with the helipad and the water slides.
And 6 months ago, we were seeing people putting in offers crazy, like going in firm, no conditions, no financing, no inspection
Well,
conditions. They were going
that scared the
100,000.
hell out of me. If I'm looking at buying that, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That gets in your head. You hear all of this stuff. Buying a house without at least a home inspection? Oh God, I can't imagine. But you're right. People were doing that.
They were going 60 to 100,000 over asking. Now, the problem with that is in 4 years, when you have to renew that mortgage, it ain't going to be at the 2.6% that you probably signed up for. So what's going to happen in 4 years? All these houses are going to have to go up for sale if the mortgage rates keep going higher. Right?
Wow.
Or they're going to end up getting repossessed by the bank, and we don't want to see that happen.
No. Okay, so someone's hearing you right now, and they're thinking, okay, I need to reconsider my plan going forward, whether I'm still insistent on renting, or whether I'm reconsidering now buying. Where do they begin with this? What's the first step they do? Do they call you, or do they call the bank? Where do they even begin with this process?
Don't go to your bank. We all have banks. They all make the big bucks, but never go to your bank. Let's pick on TD. If you go to TD and you tell them that
Let's pick on TD.
Why not?
Okay.
You go and see them and you ask them for a mortgage. They're going to approve you, more than likely, but only for their one product. If you go to a mortgage broker, their job is to shop around for you. Now, if they come back to me and they say, 4 different people have approved you, I don't care if it's Mickey Mouse Financial in Vancouver. I'm going to take whoever offers me the lowest rate. And 9 times out of 10, the bank will never be the lowest rate. It's usually a private lender.
Interesting.
We owned a house for probably 26 years, and only our very first mortgage of 4 years was with a bank. Every other year, every renewal has always been with a private lender.
See, and that's just been my automatic go-to because it's right there in the mall, and I walk in, and it's easy, and it's done, and then I walk out, and I don't have to think about it again.
You get a private mortgage broker to do the legwork for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. He or she doesn't get paid by you, the buyer. They get paid by whoever it is that's going to lend you the money to buy the house. And
so they're offering the loan and then commission to people who can find borrowers.
We use Kelly Wilson. She's been our mortgage broker for 20-some years. She knows everything inside and out.
Kelly's awesome, by the way. I know Kelly personally. She's a fantastic human. Yeah.
She gets paid from, say, Mickey Mouse Financial. They pay her for finding the buyers. It doesn't cost the buyers money. And a lot of buyers think, oh, it's going to cost me money. It doesn't cost you money to get a private lender. Do not use your bank because, like I said, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be the cheapest rate.
So this is kind of the same situation I'm in then when we talk about insurance. And I mean, you know all too well the hell that I'm in with my insurance. Oh, by the way, we had a nice little storm again yesterday with some hail and whatever else and all the little broken pieces of glass that have remained in my window. Yeah, I would say probably.
Mother Nature just hates our area, okay? She just does not like us.
I don't know what's going on. Hey, Andrea in Winnipeg says, thank you, Linda, for this information. We had our mortgage started in 2019, and we're trying to figure out what to do for 2024 when it comes up for a renewal. Any advice there? I know you're not in the mortgage business. You're in the real estate business, but...
Yeah, get a private mortgage broker to do the legwork and to do the research for you because they're going to shop around for you to get you the best deal.
Feel free to not answer this if you're not comfortable, but Chrissy says, am I able to ask your thoughts on Quest Mortgage?
I don't know a lot about them. I've heard of them. I haven't seen bad or good reviews about them, but I really don't know much about them other than I've heard.
There you go. And I don't even know who they are, so I would assume that if you're dealing with a mortgage broker, if Quest was, going to offer you one of the better opportunities and better rates, etc., then you would be dealing with Quest if you went through a broker.
Exactly. Like, Who cares? Who cares who your mortgage is with as long as it's a good rate and it's going to bring your payments down? That's all that matters at the end of the day because you're saving money.
Well, you know what? I think my concern is, like, I know the bank is still going to be the bank tomorrow. And when I'm dealing with private lenders, I think, it's kind of in the back of my mind that, well, who are these people? They could disappear tomorrow. And then where does that leave me? Or maybe I'm just overthinking. How unlike me, I know. No.
Does it really matter? Would you care that your mortgage is with a bank or private lender?
I mean, okay, I guess let me ask you this question then. So private lender, do they have to be authorized in some way, shape, or form, licensed in some way, shape, or form in order to be able to lend money? So is there some sort of check that when my mortgage, my mortgage isn't going to be defaulted because my lender has gone belly up and disappeared?
Yeah, no, they're all certified. Absolutely. They're bonded, insured out the wazoo. They're very well, let's say TD calls you and says, we're going to renew you at 4.2%. Great. And then a private lender says, we'll give it to you for 3.8. You're going to take the 3.8. Why wouldn't you? Right.
Well, plus the last time I walked into TD, I mean, they wanted all my business and they were so excited that they told me I could get a free iPod.
Right.
So there's that.
Yeah. Save your money, get the cheaper rate, and you can buy 2 iPods.
I don't, right? Do they even have iPods anymore? Anyway,
I don't know. But the rental market has taken off, and landlords are charging ridiculous amount of money for 1-bedroom apartments, like $19.95 for a 2-bedroom apartment on Bronson.
Well,
that's crazy.
Are the rental prices, though, not a reflection of, okay, so the landlord ultimately owns that unit, whether it's a house or a condo or whatever, but the landlord is the owner. So the landlord, for all intents and purposes, holds a mortgage to that property. If their mortgage is $1,900 a month, and we've talked about how, they've gotten into this market, at inflated prices, et cetera, and the interest rates are up. I mean, if it's costing me $1,900 my mortgage, why am I going to rent it to you for $1,000 and take a $900 hit?
Oh, no, they're jacking the prices up like ridiculous. The townhouses across from where you are, they're going for $2,200 a month for a townhouse. No bells, no whistles, but people are paying it because they have no choice. So what we're trying to do is have seminars, which is kind of hard with COVID stuff. We're doing a lot of online seminars to tell people the rental market is not your only option. You can still buy. You just have to come down a bit.
Well, there you go. And if people are looking for a great real estate agent, feel free to plug who you're working with, Linda.
I work for Rocco Manfredi, Royal LePage team. Funny story, him and Mom and I actually worked together back in 1987. I was a part-time receptionist, turned full-time. Mom was taking care of all the listings. And when I came in to apply for the job, he did not recognize me. He did not recognize my name because I got married since then.
Right.
And when I told him who I was, he was like, what?
And he hired you anyway?
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So full circle. So yeah, he's been in the business 38 years coming up.
Awesome. Website where people can find you guys?
RoccoManfredi.com.
RoccoManfredi.com. Thanks for this.
No problem. See, you thought you're in trouble, right?
Well, I'm surprised that I'm not.
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. Because I have lots of pink Whitney, so that'll always buy me a little more time and get me out of whatever trouble I found myself.
Whitney's not good for you.
It's not. And you know what? Like I said last week, I have no bloody discipline, but I'm looking at the Labor Day weekend and I thought, okay, I'd like to have a bottle around and I'll drink it in moderation. But I'm proud to say I picked up, what did we get? I think we picked up 2 bottles yesterday. I didn't even open it last night.
Good job. I'm sure you'll open one before Monday.
You think?
You went to Walmart. I'm surprised you didn't crack both of them open.
Oh my God.
What a gong show.
Oh my God. And by the way, so I'm walking around Walmart and like Walmart is just, it is what it is. We're talking about the hospital in Kempville being closed over the long weekend. So from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you better not have an emergency because the Kempville Hospital is going to be closed this weekend. And it's just one of many hospitals that have been through this in the last little while. It's a staffing issue, etc. I mean, I was upset yesterday because I'm in the Walmart at like 4:30 in the afternoon and the McDonald's is closed.
That's a sign.
That's
a sign.
Well, that's how I took it too. It's like, okay, I really don't need the nuggets. I'm just, I'm trying to beat myself out of these old habits. But like, I mean, and I asked the, the person working the door, I said, why is your McDonald's closed? And she said, well, this is funny. She says, well, because McDonald's has enough money already, so they don't need to be open. Really? That's the reason? Yeah, that's the reason.
I tell you, you can't make this shit up.
But it's right. But it's obviously a staffing issue and whatever else. But I just found it really, really weird that, so, I mean, look, I'm much more concerned, obviously, about the hospital situation than I am about McDonald's, although one leads to the other. But Linda, this is fascinating. Thank you very, very much. So if you're thinking renting is your only course of action, maybe renting is absolutely appropriate for you, depending on your situation. But you're not in a situation necessarily where you are unable to purchase a home. So that's good news, because I think a lot of people.
If anybody wants to reach out to us and everybody wants to get in contact, John's got my cell number. Call us. There are many people we've helped in the last, say, 3 months that have thought they can only rent.
Do you really want me giving out your private phone number?
I don't mind.
You're brave.
Gave it to you.
Good point.
Have a good day, everybody.
My sister Linda, thank you so much for joining us on Caller 9. See, you never know where the conversation is going to go. And this is just it. If maybe you're a mortgage broker, you want to chime in and weigh in on that. Maybe you're a real estate agent and you've got some listings you want to push. Feel free to do that. I don't care. I'm not going to send salespeople after you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to have conversations. I want to find out what's really going on out there in the city and the world around you, what your concerns are, what's making you happy. It's called Caller 9, 613-604-6464, 613-604-6464, streaming on blasttheradio.com on your smart speaker, of course, and the free Blast the Radio app. But you can also watch on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Donner, on Blitzen. Back to my 80s rental message. This is Linda. So yeah, the Kempville Hospital. Tara, thank you very much for giving me the heads up on this last night. What are we going to do? Our healthcare system is in serious, serious trouble, and I don't want to, get all lol, alarmist and stuff about it. But I mean, in the 53 years I've been roaming this earth, I mean, the one constant has been if I'm sick, I can go to a hospital right now. The idea that a hospital's emergency room is closed, just like the McDonald's at Walmart. I mean, we got a serious, serious problem. And how do we get out of this? I mean, so Lowell and I have talked about, the idea of private healthcare versus public healthcare. And I am convinced because when you look around, like I was driving up Bank Street yesterday and I was thinking of this, your dentist is private healthcare. When you go to have blood taken, that's private. Somebody owns that. It's not owned by the government. It's privately owned. They bill the government. You're not paying for it. The government is, but it's privately owned and privately operated. So they're responsible for doing the hiring, staffing it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. X-ray clinics, et cetera. There was even one, was it Bank and, I want to say like around Bank and Kitchener. And they've got a sign out on the road. It's a vasectomy clinic. I'd never even heard of such a thing. I knew that vasectomies happened, of course. I knew that was a thing, but I was always under the impression that you would go to, your doctor and just sort of arrange for that. But no, private clinic on Bank Street. Book your vasectomy now. I mean, do we need to be looking at some sort of, and what I started saying is, I think that when people hear the term private healthcare, they get all freaked out and bent out of shape because that is the American style. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is somebody, an individual or a company, corporation, probably more than likely, owns the hospital, manages the hospital, does the hiring, does the firing. We take that aspect of it out of government and we let a private company run and operate, hire the doctors, the nurses, the orderlies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is private. And then it is funded, of course, by the hospital or by you and me and our health insurance. Got a phone call coming in. It's distracting me, but I don't mind that one a little bit. Hello, good morning. Who's this?
It's Julie.
Hi, Julie. Oh, healthcare got you up and at it, did it?
Oh, yeah. Of course it did.
So walk us through. So, I mean, you are Jules the dancer. You've always been Jules the dancer. So you have, you dance and you dance and it's, it's all about moving your body, etc. And to me, you've always been in great shape. And then all of a sudden, you're talking about knee surgeries and wheelchairs and needing a ramp in your house and this hell that you're dealing with in the healthcare system. So give it to us in a nutshell, if you will. What are you dealing with?
I got really sick. In 2020, first of all, in 2020, the doctor said I needed to have reconstructive surgery on my knee. I said, okay. The pin that was holding my knee together was failing and I had to get it redone. Fine. So during COVID, I needed to get my knee redone. Fine. That went over and done with. I had a huge plate. They chopped my knee basically in half down my leg, got it reconstructive, have a huge plate and pins holding it together. Started reconstructive therapy on that. COVID hit, therapy shut down, everything shut down, had to do rehab on my own. And once, so I started rehabilitation on my own. And when COVID hit, then I really realized how the system was really starting to fail. And this is really controversial, so I don't want to start anything, but I got my first vaccine. And when I got my first vaccine, 3 days later, I couldn't walk. And they didn't know why. And it looked like everything had flared up. And moving forward, they ran tests, they went to try to get me into specialists. It started to affect all my nerves in my body on my left side. And I haven't really talked openly about this to my family or friends because, again, it's controversial. And don't want the argument.
Well, it's controversial, and I think we need to move past that whole conversation of I'm for them, I'm against them, and whatever conspiracy theory or science you're following and subscribing to. I think we're at a point now because we're 2+ years into this thing. I think we all recognize, Julie, that first off, COVID affects different people differently, and I mean, a vaccine basically is designed to mimic, is it not, whatever disease or like the flu vaccine. It's basically injecting the flu into you so that your immune system sees it and goes, "Oh, no, you don't." So, I mean, they're injecting you essentially with COVID. So, I mean, your body is going to react differently to it than my body. And I think, people need to move past that. But this is, what you just said there, this is part of why I want to have these conversations every day. I'm not going to judge. I think people need to hear this. And because you're expressing that you feel the vaccine that you opted to take under the recommendation of course, provincial healthcare and everything we were seeing around the world, you made the decision for yourself that, yeah, I want to be vaccinated. This seems like the best course of action. Okay, I respect that. That's Julie's choice. Julie, unfortunately, suffered some side effects that she feels may be due to that vaccine. Now, John, on the other hand, made the same decision. I've now had the 2 plus 2 boosters. I've been fine. So it affects different people in different ways. And I think if we can just get to that place of acceptance.
That's right.
Now we can start, digging into the issues. So, okay. So where are you at now with this then?
So where I am at now is that I've actually had, and I wouldn't go back. I got the first injection. I got the first shot, and I took took a reaction to it. And so, but I would never go back. I would still take it. I had a father-in-law that was, suffering from cancer. My mom has Alzheimer's. So it was to protect me and them. And then I got a second shot. And again, then I just kept getting worse. I kept getting sick. Didn't know what was going on. The pain in my legs, I just couldn't. I started to lose the feeling in my legs, my feet. I started to lose the feeling from my knee down to my leg in my left side. And then I had no energy. I could barely walk around my house. Again, I'm trying to get into a specialist or neurologist. And then I started to have problems seeing and massive headaches. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I started to get very sensitive to light. Which is, fine. Okay. So, they said I went to a rheumatologist and they said, it's not my problem. I went to Emerge constantly with pain. I'm like screaming. I wasn't sleeping. I said, there's something wrong with me. We don't know what's wrong with you. You need to see a neurologist. I can't get into a neurology. It's a year wait. It's a 1.5 year wait. So in January, I said, screw it. I had an MRI. It said that I had brain swelling and optic nerve swelling. So I said, I'm going to pay to go to Quebec City and see a neurologist. And I did.
Because on the Quebec side, they have private healthcare clinics that you can go to. Now, are you out of pocket for that, or are you reimbursed by OHIP for that?
No, I was out of pocket. I paid quite significant amount to get that done. And he looked me over and he says, I really don't know what's going on with you. My family doctor and the rheumatologist and this doctor kind of agreed that the vaccine sparked it, whatever. Either it was something living inside of me that sparked something, or, it caused some sort of first reaction. But it was obviously attacking the nerves on my left side. And now it was attacking my brain and the nerve in my back of my eye. But they couldn't tell me what this was. And it was affecting my feet. Like I have nerve damage in my legs and from my feet. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Like, what happened to me? And so he's like, well, I'll send you for all these tests, but you're going to have to see somebody in Ottawa. So he sent me for a really specific MRI of my brain, my spine, spinal cord, and the back of my eye. And that's where they saw where there was something going on, where there was swelling in the brain and swelling in my eye, and that I did have like spinal compression and swelling in my spinal cord and my spine. And I was like, okay, but again, no one can tell me what's going on. So I'm back to square one.
I hear the frustration in your voice, and I feel for you. Okay, so and God, I mean, this is just, you're a great example of just how deep the problems go in our healthcare system. So, okay, we get to hand Julie a magic wand. And you get to wave that magic wand, Julie, and you get to fix the healthcare system. What are the top 3 changes you would make because you've been through it? What do you see needs to be changed from, in our healthcare system as it stands now? What would you immediately change?
One of the things I think I would change is I think I would let doctors from other countries, allow them to come, like just maybe write a test or do a enhanced course that they can practice here. They're doctors in other countries.
I'm right there with you on that, by the way. I don't understand. They've obviously had some sort of medical training, granted, not to, the same standards necessarily, or, with the same processes that, we have here in Canada. I mean, I think even being an MD between Canada and the US, there are differences. And yet we see Canadian doctors going down to the States all the time. If you're smart enough to be a doctor, I think you're smart enough to be able to adapt to what the process is in country A versus country B. Because I mean, there are only so many ways to go about a heart surgery or, insert problem here. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Why can we not get these doctors up to speed? Can we not put them in some sort of internship program where they're assisting the doctors and observing, and, there's a test. And if they write that test, then, they're in the healthcare system. I agree with you. Why are they driving taxis? Why are they doing other things? Because I mean, and I say that because I've actually been in a taxi talking to a guy who comes from another country, and he's frustrated because he can't be a doctor here. And that was his dream. I moved my life to Canada to be a doctor here, and I can't be.
Exactly. That's one of the things. And then to kind of add to that is that when I went to Quebec City to pay to see the neurologist, when I came back, I got like told off. Why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that.
Who told you off?
My doctors. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now? I said I had no choice. And then, I've been waiting almost a year.
You're not helping me, doctor. You're not helping me, doctor. I'm in pain. What else am I supposed to do here?
All Emerge doctor keeps telling me is go see Emerge, or go see neurology. They call the neurologist on call and say, won't even come down and see me and say, she needs to go see neurology. Well, that freaking helps. You won't even come down and see me. So I end up getting a booster, the 3rd shot, and I take another reaction.
Catch your breath.
And
okay.
Sorry, I just get really frustrated.
I know. And I think of all people that I know in my world, I think you're a little entitled to that. So catch your breath. It's all good. This is good information. Because we're in a big pile of problems here, as we keep talking about this aging population around us. And can you imagine, like, my parents are in their 80s. I know your parents are experiencing some health issues as well. That, if I'm living in Kempville, for example, or I'm living out in Orleans and the Montfort is my hospital, or I'm living in Carleton Place or Elmont, and my parents are out in Stittsville. So, I mean, the Carleton Place Hospital, the Elmont Hospital, that's an option for them if they need to, get to an emergency room. The emergency room is closed. This is hell on earth. I mean,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, just despite the fact that you're right about the emergency room system, they broken bones and stuff, they get you in and they get that fixed up and in a cast and whatever else. That's great. But my experience with the emergency room, otherwise, you're dealing with a different doctor every time, so there's never any consistency there. And by and large, if it's pain, they're offering you a prescription for this, and that should take the pain away and buy you a little time until you can get in to see your regular doctor.
Yeah, so I've opted out not to go to Emerge anymore. Last time I went to Emerge, I waited 12 hours to see a doctor. I went to Emerge. Last time I went to Emerge, my leg had completely stiffened up and I couldn't, it was spasming to the point that I thought my leg was going to snap, and that's what happens when I flare up. I actually did get a chance to see a neurologist, and that was only after I had screamed and shouted to every channel. I've been screaming at Health Canada, I've been screaming at the Premier, I've been screaming at everybody to try to help me to get a diagnosis. I've gone to different avenues. I've gone to the eye doctor, and he's done his testing. And yes, I have nerve damage. I'm losing the sight of my right eye. I have to wear special glasses. I have done the nerve conduction study, which shows that I have severe nerve damage from my knee down, and I have nerve damage in my feet. And no one can tell me what caused this, and no one can tell me why. All I can tell you is I've had 3 needles, and I wouldn't do it again. I would get the 3 needles again because it saved it. I was able to be by my father-in-law's bedside when he passed. I'm able to be with my mom, who just went into St. Patrick's home, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have my vaccines. And I had every other vaccine and
okay, let's talk about that. You wouldn't be able to because of, well, that's the rule that's in place. If that rule was not in place, would you still feel the same way about wanting to be vaccinated in order to go see them?
Yeah, because I've always been vaccinated, and now I can't even get a 4th one. So my family's going to go get their 4th one because I've been told I cannot. I've got my flu shot every year, and they're saying, I don't think you should get your flu shot. And I'm thinking, oh, great, because the years I don't get my flu shot, I do end up in the hospital. So I'm one of those people that
interesting timing on this conversation.
The flu shot does protect me.
I'm sorry. Interesting timing on this conversation. And would you or wouldn't you, get that vaccine again? Because of course in Ontario they've just announced that, hey, if you've got COVID, you don't need to isolate for 5 days anymore. I mean that I read that and I'm like, why? Like, what's wrong with telling someone who's sick? In fact, and not just COVID, flu, etc. If you're sick, it should be mandatory that you lay low and just minimize your movement and just but does that not frustrate the hell out of you?
Yeah, it does. So it's so frustrating. And so when you have to wait a year, when you have to wait so long to get stuff, to get a doctor, and you have to fight for your health care, or you get told off because you went to a private clinic.
I can't believe that.
Or you're in Emerge and they call the neurologist on call and they're like, well, tell us she just has to get to a neurologist. You are the neurologist. You won't come down and see me. That's the frustration of the healthcare system. And when you go to the hospitals, they're so overworked, they're so tired, they're so done.
I don't think anybody is blaming any of the staff, the nurses, the doctors. If you've been in a hospital in the last 5, 10 years, 15 years even, you've seen firsthand the work they do. These people they're angels. They really are. And I wouldn't want that pressure. I wouldn't want that job, but they're stuck in a very, very bad situation right now. And, COVID, of course, meant that they were under even more duress. They weren't able to take time off. The stresses of that, being yelled at. Patient 1 comes in and they have been vaccinated. Patient 2 comes in and they haven't been vaccinated. And all of the political firestorm that surrounds that, I don't envy it. And yet most of the medical people that I know, they still have a damn positive attitude. They still love what they do. They're tired. They're run off their feet, but they love what they do. And every now and then you come across one who's just like, you know what? I love it. I signed up for this. I'm glad I have these skills, but I can't do this anymore. And that's heartbreaking.
And it's hard because there's times where, yes, I should have gone to Emerge, but I don't want to. And I'm at that point now because the healthcare system's so broken. So if I could deal with my pain or the numbness gets so bad or I take a little fall, and yes, I should go get checked out. I'm like, no, I won't because I don't want to backlog. This is how my brain works. I don't want to backlog the system. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be that person in the Emerge. So if I can hold off and see.
No, I know exactly what you mean. And yeah, because we've got a lot of people who go to the emergency room because they've got sniffles. I mean, that's not what the emergency room is for. And I wish to hell we'd start charging people for that. Okay, an emergency is broken bones, dizziness, breathing issues, heart issues, life and death stuff. That's emergency. Sniffles. Maybe an allergic reaction, obviously, depending on it. But like if it's you're there because of the common cold, you should get a bill for that. No different than when you call an ambulance. I don't know if people know this. When you call an ambulance, you get an invoice.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, it's true.
And that would perhaps be something that might speed up the emergency room a little bit. Interesting comments coming in, Julie. Coraline says only government employees can afford to stay home when sick. I mean, this is an age-old argument, Coraline. I mean, yes, I know what you're talking about. The government people have, benefits that are better than most. And I certainly envy them. But at what cost? I mean, yeah, I understand. I got rent to pay, etc. And my employer doesn't afford me, to bank sick days, etc. But you show up to work sick and now you're infecting other people in that workplace and on and on and on it goes. And now you're affecting customers, etc. I don't know. There's got to be some sort of system in place. I mean, we need people who are sick to legitimately sick, to be able to not have to even make that decision. And it's compounded by, of course, the fact that a lot of employers are just having a difficult time finding employees right now. And if I'm down 1 or 2 because they're home because they've got COVID, I get it. It's a nightmare. I mean, I don't know what the solution is in all of that, but yeah. Let me see. Let's go to comment here from Kim. She says, the healthcare system, the senior care system, has no idea what is coming at them in the next 10 to 15 years or even the next 5 to 7. Having worked in education system when the double cohort lip came through, they were ill-equipped to deal with that influx of students on the education system and senior services. Based on that knowledge and the prep that went into looking after those students, none of that work, none of that programming or forethought has been placed into our medical system. And she says, yes, it's motivated by money. Just work any way you can work sick. Oh, gosh.
It's bad. Yeah.
Maggie said,
I get that.
Yep. Maggie says the only way to get me to a hospital is needing to call 911. I have heart problems and vertigo. Thanks to the vaccine, I can't drive anymore. We're in a fine old mess. And again, I mean, I agree. We've got doctors, people with some medical education, around us, unable to practice, who want to. How do we make that happen? I don't know. Is it a letter writing campaign to our MPs and our MPPs? What does it have to take to fix this? Our priorities
I really don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to fix this. I think it should have been fixed way back when. I honestly think that I vaguely remember back in the 90s, someone was screaming about this, saying that we're going to have a crisis. We're going to have a crisis that when the baby boomers get older, there's not going to be enough people to work. We're going to have a healthcare crisis. We're going to have a job crisis. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. And that we're seeing this now.
You're
And
exactly right. They've been saying
unfortunately,
it for years and nobody listened and nobody took action. And now, like if we were to all of a sudden have a whole list of solutions that were approved today, dear God, how long would it take to get those implemented?
exactly, we're too
Like,
late. We're seeing the crisis now. And so it's not that I look and I'm like, I can't find anyone I don't know that's not working. Even my stepdad at 71 is working. So I'm like, it's not that people aren't working. It's the fact that the people who were working these jobs in trades and in certain things are retired or are baby boomers or are in homes. The trades are dying. Some trades are dying out, and there's
Yeah.
no people are going into those certain things. So that's why they can't find people to work those things. It's not being promoted in schools. It's same like in certain different divisions. So yeah, you can't find people to work. It's not that people aren't working. It's the fact that you don't have enough people to work. And the healthcare system's in crisis because you've got so many older people, you know, taking up, like getting my mom into long-term care was such a long process because there's so many people on the wait list.
Yeah.
Because we have an aging community. We saw this coming back in the 90s. We knew that this was going to be an issue. And we sat there and went, okay, well, we'll just wait 20, 30 years and we'll deal with it then. Well, now we're like, well, we have no one to work. Businesses are closing. Our poor people in the healthcare system, people who are working, these nurses and doctors are just burnt out, and you see it. My family doctor is done. He's like, I'm done. He wants to close his practice. I understand.
I hear
Like
that from
he's
doctors
burnt.
so
You go to
much.
him.
You know, doctors are frustrated. They can't be doctors. The paperwork that is involved in their day overwhelms. And doctor after doctor after doctor is like, I'm done with this. I'm done. I didn't get into this line of work to sit behind a desk and fill out forms. I want to get out there and help people. And they can't seem to be able to. Julie, and despite all of this, can I just say, despite all of this, you know, outside of these conversations, because I know this is deeply personal for you, but when we're talking, when you and I talk about things that are not to do with your health, you're one of the most positive damn people I know. How do you find that strength?
Because I've learned through everything in my life, because I've had such a hard life, and I've learned that you can't let that defeat you. You can't let horrible things defeat you. You have to find each day, you have to find one thing, and that can be the smallest little thing to bring you joy. And if you find that one little thing that brings you joy, that one thing, then that's what you have to look forward to, and that today, just today. You live for that moment today. So that's today.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Tomorrow, yes.
Have you ever struggled with mental health?
I have.
So this amazing attitude of yours and this amazing approach, is that something that you've learned with the guidance of a therapist, trial and error? Like when I was going through the height of my depression, we talked about this last week when you called in the show, I think it was, you know, you just showed up with this nice little, you know, button for me to wear that, you know, it's okay to, you know, I'm not, what is it? It's okay to not be okay. Or I'm not needed today. Something along those lines. And it was just a subtle little, like that came from somewhere. So what got you back to this much better mental health space that you're in? What was that journey for you?
Well, I spent a lot of my teenage years in therapy. And what it was is, after that, it was surrounding myself with some great people. Surrounding yourself with some really great people around me, and having the guidance of friends, family, and taking the toxicity out of my life.
So people who can
Taking the
champion
people.
you, lift you up. I mean, you're only as good as like you said, the team that's around you, right? And I ask,
That's right.
and
That's what you have to do.
I ask this for a reason because we're on the topic of healthcare, and the news came out today. The Trudeau government has announced, and hey, look at that! I'm applauding the Trudeau government. But they have announced, this is awesome. The 988 system is coming. Have you heard about the 988 system?
Yeah, I think it's like they call and it's like straight to the mental health line.
It's a
or
mental health
prevention
hotline, and they just launched it because I do a show in Sarasota, Florida every day. They just launched it in Florida. It's launching state after state after state in the U.S. So 911 is life and death, crimes in progress, that kind of thing. 988 is a mental health crisis hotline, which is going to make things so much simpler. I mean, the distress center's got a fairly easy to remember phone number, which by the way is always front and center at blasttheradio.com and always will be, because they saved my damn life on several occasions, and I am forever in their debt and grateful, because it bought me the time I needed to do the work to get myself to. I'm not in my best place. I mean, believe me, I'm still I still got a lot of things I'm trying to work through and get better at, but aren't we all, right? But the 988 system, I think, is so crucial because we need to simplify these things and make it so much easier. But my fear is, as we have this conversation, okay, wonderful. We put this thing in place. It gets you onto a hotline instantly with people who are trained to deal with whatever mental health crisis you are facing to get you to the help you need. But is the help that the people ultimately need when they make that phone call, is it going to be available to them, Julie? What do you think of that?
I don't know. Do they have enough support staff to do that?
I don't know.
That's the thing. Do they have enough people on the phone? That's the main question.
I mean,
because I think there's a lot of people that need the help.
Yes, and the phone call is one thing, and it takes so much for someone to pick up the phone and make that call. And to anybody who's struggling, I know, and I know what goes through your head. What do I even say? How do I begin that conversation? They're going to laugh at me. My problems are so different. Just don't worry about that. Just know that the number you're calling is going to get you in touch with someone who is trained better than most to help get you to that person who will ultimately be able to get you to the help you need. They've done it for me. But, again, how long is that wait? How many,
That's right.
how many on-call psychiatrists, et cetera, are going to be in the hospital? And I mean, I was admitted on a suicide watch several years back. And I mean, you want to talk about a department that was absolutely overwhelmed. I mean, you can't just shut that down, or maybe you can, because every emergency room at every hospital in the city has a mental health department. So someone's threatening suicide, or going through a panic attack, or whatever at 2:00 in the morning, and they can't go to their local hospital. What do you gotta hurry up and wait?
Yeah, no, it's bad. I believe that COVID and isolation would have really put a lot of people in this seclusion, isolation. I can't talk to anyone. A lot of people didn't reach out. A lot of people were secluded, and I think the anxiety, the panic attacks, the people got into their. I think a lot of people got into their heads, and it made mental health worse. I really do think it made people's mental health worse.
Absolutely.
Part of my therapy is dance, and that's why it's kind of weird. But if I have a really awful day, I'm like, I need to be in the studio. I need to go to the studio, and everyone's like, why? And it's like, because I need to get lost in the music. I need to get lost in choreographing. I need to get lost in my movements. I need to get lost in it. And that is for me. That's the way I cope now. Or I need to be around positivity. And one of my mentors, because I get mentored now because the struggle I've gone through in a year and a half, I've I'm associated with a group called the Rolettes in LA, and they're a wheelchair dance group, and they're
The
phenomenal. And they
Rolettes?
mentor me. The Rolettes,
I love
yes.
that. I love that. I
They're
love
an
that.
LA. They're an LA group. They're a wheelchair dance group. And I get mentored by by them, and they're very inspirational. And one of the things that they say is it's okay to fail, and it's okay to sit there and just cry and let,
Of course.
go. And because one of the things that was said to me is, have you accepted what's happened to you? And I said, and I thought about it, and that was something that my mentor asked me, have you accepted it yet? And I said, no. He said, have you had a really good cry about what's happened to you? And I said, no. And then she said, I think you need to go somewhere and have a really good cry. And you know what? I did.
Isn't this all a testament, though? This is all a testament to you seeking help, asking for help, getting the help, and finding, ultimately what works for Julie. And what works for Julie isn't what works for John, isn't what works for this person or that person, but the right team of medical professionals will help guide you to that. And that is my fear with this. Okay, great. I make a call to 988, coming soon. I've recognized that, that I need the help. I've reached out, I've gotten the help, but is it there for me? That's the thing. And I recognize, Julie, how lucky I got when I had my mental breakdown that, I was able to get to a work counselor, number one, and that my doctor is absolutely fantastic. Because I always felt when I would go to my doctor, and he's unbelievably busy, there's a lineup outside his door for every medical appointment. And I've often felt, because I've been going to him for years, that whenever I would go into the problem, I almost felt like I was just wasting his time. Like there was no engagement. It was just kind of John's here. What do you need? I'm exaggerating slightly, but I kind of had that sense that, he wasn't that vested in my, or that invested in my issue. But when I went to him after I had a nervous breakdown live on the radio, I drove to his office that afternoon and I demanded to see him. His whole world stopped for me. And it was eye to eye. And he listened to every word I said. And he just sat there and he shut up and he nodded his head and he listened to me. And once I was done pouring my heart out, he said, John, I've done you a disservice. I don't think, I should have seen a lot of the signs. You are a classic, candidate for depression. You are a high achiever. You are hard on yourself, creative types. And, and he ran down the list. But the biggest favor he did for me is he said, I'm not going to recommend a therapist to you. And for a moment there, I was like, what do you mean? He said, no. He said, if you go to Google and you type in psychologists, psychiatrists, Ottawa, you will end up with a list of everyone who's practicing in this city. He says, you have homework to do. I want you to go through that list and I want you to read what their area of expertise is. And I want you to whittle it down to a list of 5 or 6 who you think are kind of speaking to what you believe your biggest hurdles to be. And then from there, I want you to start making some phone calls and you will land on the one who is right for you. I mean, that was life-changing. But I mean, is that going to be there for people who, if they call the distress center line today or ultimately, in a few months' time, 988? I mean, I'm not convinced. I think sometimes, a person at the other end of the phone, an impartial person, is capable of calming you down and talking you into a better place. And that's fine for that moment in time. But if there's a bigger issue, and more often than not there is, how are we going to deal with this? We can't even deal with, the fallout, like you said, from these vaccines that we were all encouraged to take and the damage that it's doing. And you're exactly right, Julie. We're only seeing the tip of the iceberg from this isolation and this whole change in the world and the attitudes, the anger, the frustration, the animosity. It's a very, very different world right now. And that's, again, a big reason why I see an opportunity to have these conversations. I think they are vitally important. We haven't had them for far too many years, especially the last two.
Exactly. I totally agree. And I just think keeping the conversation open, and I think, talking to one another like we do, talk to your neighbors, just go out and actually communicate with each other, go back and pick up a phone instead of texting. It makes a world of difference, because it just will bring a smile to someone's face. I guarantee you.
Julie, you always make time for us here on my show and on BTR, and I love you. I think you are an absolutely special human being. I'm so grateful that you're part of my little world, and that you do get involved in these conversations, not just with me, but with Lowell. And you're very insightful, and you come from a place of passion. And I'm sorry you're in so much pain, and I really, really hope that we can, get you the help you need and get you back to, running and jumping and dancing like you used to. I think, God, I want that for you in a big, bad way.
Well, my dancing, I'm still doing dancing. I'm just doing it differently.
I love it.
All.
I love that attitude.
I found a different way. Found a different way to dance, and like I said, I found mentors that are guiding me, and I just found a different way to do it.
Hey, if you've ever been in a bar with me, I long ago found a different way to dance, but we won't talk about that. At least I'm not wearing the dark socks inside my flip-flops and dancing, right? There's that. So, Julie, thank you for
that.
Thank you for a very insightful and very thoughtful conversation as always. You should probably don't you have a meeting or something by now? I'm surprised you haven't had 10 meetings by now.
I've been working as we're talking.
Me too. Julie, thank you very much for being part of Caller 9. This is what this show's all about. I wish you a wonderful long weekend. Tomorrow, would it help your mental health if I launched you into the long weekend by doing like the old school Milkman show that I kind of used to do with like the laugh tag lunch and stuff?
Absolutely.
All right. There's one vote for that. All right. Consider. Thank you, Julie, very, very, very much. We'll let you go now. Get back to work. All right.
Oh, I will. Okay, bye.
All right. That's a special human right there, Julie, on the phone. That's what I want these conversations every single day. We just, and we're bouncing around from subject to subject. But I'm so grateful for these conversations. Oh, my God. The only thing that would make it better is if we could sit down at like a restaurant and have, some like bacon, eggs, and coffee and stuff. Speaking of food, Chris Fothergill-Brown from youtube.com/that'srank is with us. So yesterday it was what, pickle milkshakes or pickle something close to that, right, Chris?
Pickle slushies.
Pickle slushies. Okay. I just never know where the conversation is going to go or how I should even lead into it. But welcome back, Chris Fothergill-Brown from youtube.com/that'srank, an entire YouTube channel devoted to food. So what do you got for us today?
Well, you're the biggest TikTok user I know, John.
No, I'm not.
I assume you've posted at least a dozen videos featuring the I blow up trend.
Full disclosure, I do have a TikTok account. You're welcome to follow me if you want. I get probably 3 or 4 followers a day, and I laugh every time because I have all of one video on my TikTok, and I think it's from like 3 years ago. So what they think they're going to get from me, I don't know. But anyway.
What are you doing in that TikTok? That's the question.
Nothing. Which, yeah, precisely nothing at all.
That sounds like TikTok. Look,
I don't understand TikTok. It's the first social media app that I've looked at and gone, you know what? I don't get it. I don't care to. That's my old man cutoff point. TikTok.
Well, that makes sense because you and I are what the TikTok crowd would call old AF. But I don't let that stop me when it comes to keeping on top of the hottest trends in the world. So today I thought I would tell you about some of the food stuff that's straight fire as we head into this Labor Day, John.
I'm assuming fire is a word the cool kids use.
It is. Straight fire means it's a good thing.
Okay.
Are you a lemonade guy,
I'm
John?
hip to that. Am I a lemonade guy? Yes, especially pink lemonade with vodka. It's called Pink Whitney. We know this, Chris.
What if I told you that there was a lemonade trend that's too sweet to be sour and packs the kind of caloric punch that even people who are garbage bulking might blush at?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, the creamy lemonade exists, John. And
the creamy lemonade?
The creamy lemonade. And what you're doing is you're mixing a standard lemonade, so lemons, sugar, water,
Oh,
and then throwing in some sweetened condensed milk.
No, I was afraid you were going to say that. Really?
It's a thing. And the word is the internet is going crazy at this drink.
Lemon and milk, that whole flavor, as you imagine it, that is the flavor of barf. No.
I picture it curdling, like with the sourness, but look, I haven't done it mostly for the sugar and calories because I intend to see tomorrow, but there's a couple of things that I know about you, John.
You're going to try this?
No, not that one. Not that one. But this next one. So you're the milkman, but you're also a pizza man and a dessert man. So maybe this one
I'm
has
gonna put
your
it in
name
front of me and I'm likely to devour it kind of man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
Hello, ladies.
I think this one's got your name written all over it.
Okay.
It's it's the watermelon pizza, John. Now, it's probably not what you think, and thank God for small mercies that it's
Chris,
not.
Pardon me, Chris.
Yes.
Okay. On my channel,
Yeah.
I know I can do this, but we're also on your channel with these videos.
Right.
Are we allowed to use expletives on your channel?
I'll bleep you out, but you certainly can.
Okay, well, I'll help you along. Watermelon pizza?
Yeah.
F to the no.
Well, let's get into it anyway, John. So
I knew we would.
So you take the watermelon and you slice it down the middle. So it's a nice round pizza looking shape, basically. And
it does
then,
have the round shape, yes.
as you've got that, you spread some Cool Whip across the top of it, and then whatever
Okay.
berries and fruit that you have lying around, and then you slice it into triangles. It's a cool, refreshing treat, and probably
I like it so far.
Well, and that's it. That's all it is, John. It's the watermelon pizza.
I like it.
Hey, there you go. You're hip to the TikTok.
Hey! It only took us 6 or 7 months to get to the point where one of the things you mentioned I like.
I'm probably not making it because if I served this to my son, my floors, let alone his face, would be like those dive bar floors.
Yeah. Yes.
When it's all said and done, but it does sound pretty good to me, at least I think. When I saw the video, I thought it looked pretty good too. So
and hey, if you're not going to do that at home for the kids, I'm thinking if you have a little alone time on a Saturday night with the one you love,
you can get things a little sticky.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, speaking of some alone time, some incredibly brave dude decided to play with his wiener at a recent baseball game, and people can't stop watching it. So, what he did...
That first, second, or third base, the wiener.
He was on one of the baselines for sure. So, if you haven't seen the video, it's pretty wild, John. So, he gets a plain wiener, removes it from the bun, and then pokes a hole through it end to end, basically giving it a urethra. And at this point,
you just
he decides to move the hot dog to his beer and begins using it as a straw.
I like this guy.
So here's the pros, I guess. I imagine that a wiener structurally is going to hold up better than those paper straws that we get from Tim Hortons.
I would sip through a wiener long before I would sip through a paper straw.
My bigger concern is that he used a straw for beer. You don't usually use a straw with beer.
Yeah, no.
I don't know, John. I still think I'd try it, but I feel like it's got some horror show appeal to it. Hot dog beer, it's not calling out to me. Now, this last one.
The next Red Blacks game, I'm telling you right now, is going to be a shit show. I hope the TSN cameras find me again. Section D, row 9. That's me sipping beer through a wiener, boys. That's right.
Through a urethra. You got it. Now,
I didn't say that. You did.
So, yeah, no snark on this last one. This is a big trend right now, and it's got your name written all over it.
Of course. Everything has my name written all over it.
This one genuinely does. I'm not kidding this
okay.
time. So,
yep.
Pink, Whitney, Starburst, slushies.
I know, right?
Have you heard about this?
Have you seen the Tipsy Bartender online?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
The stuff he does with Pink Whitney. Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. The only
the
channel I
Milkman's-
watch more on YouTube more than yours is his.
Well, Milkman's well aware, so it's super straightforward.
Oh,
Just
it's
fill
the
your blender.
hub of Pink Whitney.
Yeah, you fill your blender with ice, some Pink Whitney, Pink Starburst, and if you happen to have the Starburst to go powder, which are basically instant drink powder flavored like Starburst, it's not bad. You blend it together, boom, frozen summertime drink. And this thing has gone insanely viral for all the Whitney fans that are out there. Some people even turned it into Jello shots, John.
Why not? And by the way, so you know how alcohol is not supposed to freeze, right?
That's right.
Here's how much sugar's in Pink Whitney. Mine froze. My bottle of Pink Whitney, top shelf of the freezer. I grabbed it the other day. It was the last, because I'm giving it up for a little while. I'm trying to get back in shape, so I'm not allowing myself any Pink Whitney in the house. But I grabbed, like, there's like a, maybe somewhere between a quarter and a half of the bottle left, and it was like this frozen. It was like trying to pour ketchup out of a bottle. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
So you're getting the alcohol syrup, basically. And,
yeah. So I can totally see, making little Jello shots out of this. Absolutely. Easily done. Awesome.
Anyway, that's the latest on the TikTok trends, John. And I feel for the sake of our audience, we probably need to keep abreast of this stuff and maybe talk about it a little bit more often because, what's hot today is cold tomorrow. So we got to keep up.
He used the term urethra and then abreast. What kind of show is this, Chris Fothergill-Brown? The smut that you bring to my show. Maybe leave that for your channel, which is fabulous, by the way. Give him a follow. Give him a subscribe. YouTube.com/That's Rank. I recorded that with Chris on Monday. Oh, yeah, I'm going to give up the Pink Whitney thing, like I said earlier. Went to the liquor store yesterday, picked up a couple of bottles of Pink Whitney for the long weekend. I have no willpower at all. But I'm happy when I drink my Pink Whitney, so there's that. Yes, Tipsy Bartender, if you're not familiar with that, it is the Pornhub of Pink Whitney. And oh my God, if you're not subscribing to Chris's channel, I mean, dude is just the most off the wall creative guy when it comes to, I love the way he talks and the terms he uses. Give him a subscribe, give him a follow, and subscribe, by the way, means free. And when you do subscribe to a YouTube channel, it means the latest episodes pop up on your phone automatically. Kelly's doing a dry September. Bites his tongue and refuses to say jokes. Sexual innuendo. I can't help myself. I can't make myself. Katz is Tipsy Bartender. Makes great stuff. He does. Really, he does. Hey, when you're going to delete a piece of software, etc., on your computer, and your computer drives you nuts, right? Are you sure you want to delete this? Are you really sure? You're absolutely sure you want to delete this? Okay, well, if you can identify where the fire hydrants and the palm trees are, then we'll go ahead and delete the app for you. Okay, you went through the process. You did say you wanted to delete this for real now. So all these, I'm exaggerating, but all of these, do you really want to do this? We need that on Facebook Messenger. I don't know if you've ever sent like a voicemail or, a piece of audio to someone via Facebook Messenger, but every now and then it's like, did I send the right file? And then you go to play it back, right? Well, I'm playing it back. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Like, did I send Sue McGarvie the right file? And I'm playing it back. So I'm holding it up to my ear so I don't wake the rest of the house up. And inevitably, my fat face hits the call Sue McGarvie button. It doesn't ask if I actually want to call Sue McGarvie. It just calls her. So my apologies to Sue. I pocket dialed her at like 2:25 a.m. the other night. I didn't mean to. I was just making sure I did, in fact, send you the right audio file for our upcoming podcast. On the other hand, I may have gotten to that quickly enough. And by the way, there's no obvious hang up button when you make calls on Facebook Messenger. Like, it's full on panic. Like, middle of the night, I'm waking somebody up with a Facebook Messenger phone call. Anyway, without further ado, let's talk sex, shall we? With Sue McGarvie of Sex with Sue fame. Here we go. Back with Sue McGarvie, who has been a syndicated talk show host. You are a published author. You are a sex therapist, and you are a ton of fun. But you also have a great group, an international group with chapters in Ottawa. Started in Ottawa, but now you're in not Sarasota. Sorry, that's
5 cities. 5 cities.
5 cities. You are
Some
in.
of them aren't that big, but the Florida chapter is monstrous. They're so good there down there. Yeah, I started outside of Orlando because I was there, and yeah. But now we're growing. We have people from Sarasota. So I love the Sarasota people. You need to come down. We're going down October 13th to 17th. Everybody could come and party with us at Secrets. That would be fun.
In 10 words or less, define what the Ducklings are.
We're the group between the Crazy Swingers and your parents' bridge club.
I love that. All right. Thursday. Goodness, yesterday we had a fascinating conversation about a lactation fetish. What's on your mind today? What do you
Well,
want
I
to
want to talk about flirting a little bit because, anyway, I'm doing these a lot of events, and God bless some of these guys. We got some amazing men in this city, but man, they're clueless. And I'm watching how they're interacting with single women, and I thought I need to give them the top three best things that I would suggest for finding out, to just making those moves. There's three things. Number one is called the slow smile. You don't just go and beam all the time. It's the idea that I see you and that the smile opens across my face. And to practice that, because it apparently in the top three most things that they have identified, the psychology of it, that people think that you are amazing and that you're focused completely on them. Apparently Bill Clinton was the master at that, and Brian Mulroney apparently really good at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The smile is very disarming.
It is very disarming. Second thing, something called sticky eyes. I'm going to look at you and our eyes are going to stay pretty sticky. It's eye contact, right? If you can't do it because of, you've got a neurological issue.
It would be creepy if I'm just out somewhere and someone's just locked eyes with me. I'd be like, is there something on my face?
No, you look at them and then you look away, but it's sticky. It's really looking at eye contact. And I'm talking about, for men, no, it's not staring and leering, but it's eye contact and slow smile. Like you will get their attention. If you keep the eye contact. If there's people in the room that you're interested in, keep looking at them. And, they'll let you know because they'll either turn their back, cross their arms if they're not interested. But if they are, boom, that's how you do it. And then when they are, and you're either close enough to talk, you want to say hi, and then you want to touch them between their wrist and their elbow. Just that little band.
Do that.
Right there. Yes, I think that is still socially appropriate. I am declaring that I think it's still socially appropriate. Because if you had a piece of lint there, it's very light, just gently touch them. What they will do, just if you're moving away, just find a way to touch them gently. Oh, I'm spatting a mosquito. I don't care.
Very touchy-feely. And I will do that at the grocery store. I'll share a joke with someone in line behind me and I'll turn around and I'll just give them a little, tap on the elbow, whatever else. But I walk away now and I'm like, I gotta stop doing that. Not everybody is open to that. That's
fair. But if you have done the first two things and you have come over to them, I wouldn't do it at people in line, that you haven't already had a thing with. Like if you already haven't had a good conversation and had a connection and done eye contact and whatever in a dating situation, I don't think I would. But in this scenario, I would, because one of three things will happen. Either they'll stay the same, which means they don't have enough information about you. They will move closer to you, which means you're in there. And it doesn't mean sex, because you can't talk about sex until the woman brings it up, but it may mean that you're able to, ask them for coffee. Or they'll pull back, which means you're dead in the water. Don't even go there. Go next. So those are the three. Like it's
but having the
simple.
police called and you charged is not one of those three. So okay, all right.
Yeah.
And third thing people need to do in order to flirt.
Yeah, don't be touching the small of their back. Don't be playing with their hair. Don't be. It's this small band between their wrist and their elbow, and that's it. That's the only place you can touch. That's it. You can the only compliments you can give are above the waist and below the feet or below the knees. Like I'll just talk about their shoes or talk about above the, like you got great sparkly earrings, something like that. And that's step 4, but we weren't going to get into that today. But they're not going to call the police on those things. And just try because everybody's terrified. They've all been locked down for 2 years.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I think a lot of the shyness and the discomfort in doing that is because guys right now, especially, they just don't know what is and is not appropriate. And it's different with every person.
I know it's hard. It's really hard. And I feel for guys. It's really hard, but we're going to stop. And I have events. I have a new one coming up. Like I do comedy and music in the park at Hogsback once a month. And the best musicians and comedians. And I give you ice cream and water. And we do events. We did condom bingo. It was a blast. For $20, you can't get anywhere for $20 doing all that. Our lineup is spectacular. So Anyway, come find us. wearetheducklings.com or send me an email, sue@sexwithsue.com.
If you're not following Sue McGarvie, if you weren't before, you are now. No wonder you've got 45,000 views on TikTok. I love that you're part of my show. I love that you're part of my world. Sue McGarvie, thank you as always. We'll talk to you again for what's bound to be a
Freaky Friday. You got it.
Awesome.
Mwah.
Am I the only one who's dying to know what condom bingo is, but on the other hand, petrified of asking the question? That goes under the O. No, that goes over the O, doesn't it? Yes, it goes. It just the jokes write themselves. Sue McGarvie is just a ton of fun. We are the ducklings.com. If you're not following that group, it's a good follow, especially if you are single or in a situation where you are able to mingle. She puts on ridiculously fun events. That comedy and music thing in the park. I helped her out with a PA system in a pinch a few weeks ago. Place was packed. Craziness. All right. Listen, thank you, Julie. What a phone call. What a conversation about what her personal experiences are in the healthcare system. Anytime it comes up, we can always count on Julie for offering an opinion or two, but it's the real first chance we've had to dive deep on what she's experiencing. So thank you. And some insightful information as well from my sister Linda, who has been, like she said, in the real estate game for quite a number of years. And the challenge that they're up against right now, where they're getting all kinds of phone calls, people looking for rentals, people who seem to have forgotten or are not aware that no, you could actually be buying a home right now. So we're talking about those people who, rental seems to be the only option. Look, if you miss this live, no problem. Find me on YouTube. Blast the Radio on YouTube. You can also find the Milkman Show podcast. We'll have this up there for you so you can listen while driving as well. AJ was asking, by the way, I said, I would love to get together with our listeners and do the only thing better would be to sit there and do breakfast. And he says, well, what's stopping you from doing that? Nothing, I guess, except my fear that is anybody going to actually show up? Because the events we've done so far, and I'm not trying to poop on anybody. I know y'all got lives going on and stuff and COVID and people aren't necessarily comfortable with going out into the world yet. But like the last 10 events or so that we've done, like maybe one or two people from like BTR show up. So I don't know that we're necessarily there yet, AJ, as far as, being able to book an event and have some sort of certainty that a lot of people will show up. Because I'd love to get back to that. Believe me, BTR is founded on doing great stuff like the old White Horse restaurant we did when, oh man, they were in a rough situation. They had, when they were building the train yard across from them, etc., they were essentially shut down for a good long time behind. Well, I mean, they weren't shut down, but they were behind fences. It was impossible for people to get in and out. So we showed up and we did a breakfast with BTR. We had people playing, live music, did a live broadcast. I think we had like 2 different table turnovers of breakfast. Absolutely. That's what we do at BTR. And I miss being able to do that. I get a sense, AJ, because we do our comedy nights on Tuesdays at No Forks Given. Andre is constantly doing drag shows, etc., and we're inviting you all out. I think for whatever reason, people are just they're just not able to yet. I'm going to be interested to sort of see how things go once everybody's back in school and back into some sort of normal routine. But believe me, I'm keeping an eye on things. Yes, I am, because I want to get back to doing that. I want to get back to doing that in a big, bad way. So tomorrow, as far as I can tell, y'all are interested in me doing some semblance of kind of the original Milkman show. So like with a boogie break and with like a laugh tag lunch and stuff. Haven't done that in a long, long time. So I'll be looking for you on Twitch to hang out and do that. We will put caller 9 on hold for tomorrow and resume this on Tuesday. But I'm so grateful for those conversations. We need to have more of them. All right, break time for yours truly. I will get the dog out for a little walk, and then I'll be back here at 2 o'clock with Lowell Green. Man, we're raising some hell with City Hall right now. If you're not aware what's going on with City Hall and their $60 billion climate action plan, that according to some counselors, that's not actually a thing, but they have a job posting looking to hire a manager for the thing that's not a thing. Yeah, we've received more email with some more insight into this. It just gets deeper and deeper and more weird by the moment. So that's coming up at 2:00 this afternoon. Thank you for being my caller number 9. It's the Milkman, John Milky Moo for now.